Step away from the vehicle, hands where I can see them, now. The command echoed across the quiet cul-de-sac, sharp enough to shatter the calm of the upscale community. Birds scattered from nearby trees as a patrol SUV rolled to a hard stop behind a midnight blue sedan. Marcus Reed froze. Just moments ago, everything had been normal, boringly normal. A peaceful afternoon, a simple favor. Now a stranger's voice carried authority, suspicion, and something colder beneath it. Marcus slowly raised his hands, palms open, heart steady but alert. He had driven into the gated neighborhood less than 10 minutes earlier. No rush, no stress, just there to help his aunt, Denise, who had recently undergone knee surgery and couldn't drive herself to a medical appointment. She lived in Crestview Pines, a pristine HOA-controlled community known for its manicured lawns, private patrols, and strict rules about outsiders. Marcus had been here before, plenty of times. Denise had lived there for over 8 years. She'd emailed the HOA earlier that week, listing Marcus as an approved driver, complete with his license plate, date, and purpose of visit. Everything was cleared. At least, it was supposed to be. Before we continue, quick question. Where are you watching from right now, and what time is it for you? Drop it in the comments. We love seeing how far these stories travel. And if you've ever witnessed abuse of power up close, tap like and subscribe so more stories like this get seen. Marcus had parked briefly in Denise's driveway, helped her into the passenger seat, and adjusted her brace. She was inside grabbing her purse when he decided to pull the car forward slightly to make it easier for her to step in. That was when the patrol SUV appeared. The HOA patrol officer stepped out slowly, hand resting near his holster. He was white, mid-40s, rigid posture, mirrored sunglasses, even though the sun was already dipping low. "I said, step away from the vehicle," the man barked again, louder now. Marcus complied without argument, stepping back with his hands still raised. "There's no problem here. I'm picking up my aunt. She lives here." The officer laughed once, short and dismissive. "Funny, because I've been patrolling this neighborhood for 6 months, and I've never seen you." Marcus nodded slightly. "That's possible. I don't live here." "So why are you touching a resident's vehicle? And why'd you pull it forward like you were about to take off?" Marcus felt it then, that familiar shift, the moment when logic stops mattering. "I was moving it so she wouldn't have to step down awkwardly. She just had surgery." The officer circled the car slowly, eyes scanning Marcus like he was searching for something incriminating. "Step closer to the curb, slow." Marcus obeyed. "You got ID?" "Yes, sir." "Don't reach for it." Marcus paused. "Then how would you like me to—" "I didn't ask for commentary. I asked if you had ID." "Yes, sir." The word "sir" tasted bitter, but Marcus used it anyway. The officer finally gestured. "Left hand only. Move like you're underwater." Marcus reached slowly, every movement deliberate. His pulse was calm, but his mind was working fast. He'd been trained for tense encounters. He knew how quickly these moments could spiral. The officer examined the ID longer than necessary. "So," he said, "you don't live here, you're alone in a resident's car, and you expect me to believe you're just doing a favor?" "My aunt is inside the house. You can speak with her. Her name is Denise Walker. The HOA has my information on file." The officer smirked. "Funny thing," he said. "People like you always say that." There it was. Marcus felt the air change. "I recommend you check your system," Marcus said calmly. "Everything will line up." Instead of responding, the officer stepped back and unholstered his weapon. The click was unmistakable. The gun wasn't fully raised, but it didn't need to be. "Hands up higher. I don't like how calm you are." Marcus lifted his hands another inch. "I'm calm because I've done nothing wrong." The officer's jaw tightened. "You don't get to decide that." A nearby window curtain twitched. Someone was watching. And just like that, Marcus understood something deeply unsettling. This wasn't about security. This was about control, and what the officer thought he was seeing. A black man, a nice car, a quiet neighborhood he didn't belong in. And the worst part? This was only the beginning. The gun never left Marcus's direction. The HOA patrol officer stood rigid, feet planted wide, finger hovering just close enough to the trigger to make the threat unmistakable. The quiet street felt smaller now, like the houses themselves were leaning in to watch. Marcus kept his hands raised, shoulders relaxed, breathing measured. "You're making this worse than it needs to be," Marcus said calmly. The officer scoffed. "People like you don't get to tell me what's worse." That sentence confirmed everything. From inside the house, the front door creaked open. Denise stepped out slowly, gripping her cane, confusion written across her face. "Marcus?" she called. "What's going on?" The officer snapped his head toward her. "Ma'am, stay where you are." "That's my nephew," Denise said, alarmed. "Why do you have a gun out?" The officer didn't answer her. His eyes stayed locked on Marcus. "Sir, she's the homeowner. You can verify everything with her right now." Instead of lowering the weapon, the officer raised it higher. "Don't distract me," he barked. "I said hands up, all the way." A neighbor's garage door froze halfway open. Someone else lifted a phone. Marcus realized this was no longer a private misunderstanding. It was becoming a spectacle. Denise's voice trembled. "Officer, please, he's here to drive me to my doctor." The man laughed again, sharp, humorless. "Ma'am, with all due respect, criminals always have someone vouching for them." Marcus closed his eyes for half a second. That was it. He opened them and made a decision. "I'm going to make a call," Marcus said evenly. The officer stiffened. "You're not calling anyone. I'm informing someone, for everyone's safety." "Don't," the officer warned. Marcus didn't reach suddenly. He didn't rush. He slowly pulled his phone from his pocket, held it up so the officer could see every movement, and pressed a single button. The call connected immediately. "This is Deputy Commissioner Marcus Reed. I'm being detained at gunpoint by an HOA patrol officer at Crestview Pines, Block C. I'm requesting immediate law enforcement response." The silence afterward was deafening. The officer blinked. "Cute, real cute." Marcus said nothing more. 10 seconds passed. Then 20. From the other end of the phone came a sharp, professional voice. "Copy that, Deputy Commissioner. Units are en route. Stay where you are." Marcus ended the call and lowered the phone, hands still raised. The officer swallowed. "Commissioner?" he repeated, forcing a laugh. "You really expect me to believe that?" Marcus met his eyes. "You should hope it's true." A distant sound cut through the tension, faint but unmistakable. Sirens. The officer's face drained of color as the sound grew louder, closer, multiplying. Red and blue lights flooded the entrance of the neighborhood as 2 police cruisers pulled in fast, followed by an unmarked black SUV. Doors opened in unison. Uniformed officers moved with purpose. A tall man in a dark suit stepped out of the SUV, eyes locking immediately onto Marcus. Every officer froze. Then, without hesitation, they snapped to attention. "Deputy Commissioner," one said firmly. The HOA officer staggered back a step. No, wait," he stammered. "I didn't know." Marcus finally lowered his hands. "You didn't want to know." One of the officers approached the HOA patrolman. "Sir, place your hands behind your back." "This is a misunderstanding. I was just doing my job." "Your job," Marcus said, "doesn't include drawing a firearm on an innocent person and ignoring verification." Metal cuffs clicked shut. Denise covered her mouth, tears pooling in her eyes. Marcus turned to her gently. "You okay?" She nodded, shaken. "I didn't know it was this bad." Marcus looked back at the officer being led away. Most people don't until it's pointed at them. One of the responding officers asked, "Sir, do you have evidence of the interaction?" Marcus nodded and unlocked his phone. I recorded everything. They listened in silence. The accusations, the mocking tone, the moment the gun came out, the assumptions spoken out loud. When the recording ended, the officer exhaled sharply. That's more than enough. The HOA patrolman was placed into the cruiser, still muttering excuses that no one was listening to anymore. As the cars pulled away, the street slowly returned to quiet. Curtains closed, phones lowered. Marcus helped Denise into the car at last, adjusting her seatbelt carefully. "You didn't do anything wrong," she said softly. "I know. That's the problem." The gate opened. Marcus drove out calmly, the same way he'd planned to minutes ago. Later, the HOA would issue statements, contracts would be reviewed, the patrol company would quietly disappear from the community. But the truth had already done its damage, and it had been recorded. If this story made you uncomfortable, good. It means you were paying attention. Like, subscribe, and share if you believe accountability should never depend on who someone thinks you are. And tell us in the comments, have you ever seen power abused like this?